Hello there, and welcome to another gameplay and review video. In this video, I will be reviewing another Tonguc Bodur game. This game is called Pilgrim Redux. It is the second installment of the Bato series, and the 8th overall released game from Tonguc Bodur. This game is a retelling of the bottle story and is expanded and more detailed and a little bit more emotional and has more of a slice of life feel to it. So there are 4 chapters. As you know, I have already played this more than once, so they're all unlocked. But I'm going to start from the beginning. So let's explore Pilgrim Redux. Chapter 1, Shiny Waterfall. Okay. This is where we begin. This is one of his earlier games, as you know. The 8th one, so it's pretty old. He's got quite a library of games. I own every single one. But here's where we left the car, and let's get started on this journey. Speaking of journey, I've only got about a week left until I move.
I like to go for long walks, walks that cleanse the lungs and cleanse the spirit. This walk, though, has particular meaning for me, and it's a pilgrimage I make every year at this time.
So yeah, I'm moving to Tacoma, Washington, in almost exactly 1 week from now. I'm going to be taking a break from YouTube in a few days for a little bit until March, but I'm going to make a video in about 3 or 4 days talking about it, and that will be the last video I'll make before the move. So stay tuned for that. Kind of nice terrain and outdoor ambience and nice tree textures and grass textures, as is with Unreal Engine.
I can remember every detail of my wife's appearance, even though she's been gone for nearly 10 years. I remember how her cheekbones would rise when she smiled. Remember her long, raven black hair flowing down her back like a shiny waterfall. I also remember how she looked without hair.
Here's a cabin. Let's see what this is about. I love you, mommy. Huh. Yeah, I guess I gotta take a look at everything. You have to find these pictures and notes lying around. Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty good scenery. I will be making my own games soon, once I get to the new house. Up here, let's see what's up here. Anything? No, it doesn't look like it.
She was still beautiful, and she could still smile, but not as often as she used to. The sickness came and went quickly enough, but when it went, it took her with it. I was only 31 years old at the time. She, 33, and our daughter, Emily, had only recently turned 6. Yeah. Pretty good looking pigs. Pretty good quality textures and assets. What? Let's see, events. I'm not sure where all of the notes are, because last time I played this I didn't get all of them.
gonna make sure I have every single one of them. Okay.
It's hard enough for a parent to raise a young child on their own, doubly so when that child is of the opposite gender, yet that's precisely the predicament I found myself in when Cassandra died.
You can also
By
use
all
it for-
means, both sets of grandparents did their best to help out, but my pride dictated that I could only ask so much of them. I needed to prove to everyone, not at least of all myself, that I could do this. I had no desire to be the all but absent father that my own had been, but an endeavor to spend as much time as I could caring for my daughter in the most direct way possible. I won't deny that the odd drink came in handy during this early period, but it was yet to become a problem.
As I was saying, you could press the shift key and do run if you want to run 2 parts of it. Pretty good palm tree texture there. I like the rock textures too. Good looking palm trees. Let's check over here before we move on. Oh, here's one. Oh, that's the one I missed last time. Drawing number 4. Yeah. I'll try to find as many of them as I can. Yeah, you kind of gotta hunt around for them. I'll try to find as many of them as I can. Another thing about these gameplay and review videos, they're not necessarily 100% complete playthroughs. I'm not trying to aim for that. I'll do it only if I can, but if I can't, it's not like a 100% completion thing. If I don't find everything, I just don't find everything. Just mainly showing you the game. Telling you what I think about it.
Much greater challenges in the early days were the ones that people would think almost trivial. Ensuring my daughter was safe when she used public restrooms, and that she cleaned herself properly when she was in the bathtub. Responsibilities that would normally fall upon the female parent when there is one. Emily was still very young at the time, of course, but old enough to feel awkward that her father was checking in on her during her more private moments. There's no denying that the presence of a woman would have alleviated much of the burden cast suddenly upon both of our lives.
Looks like an outhouse or something. I don't think I could get in there. Okay. There's a way in. Here it is. Wall.
It's not like I didn't try to meet other women after Cassandra's passing. I even went on the odd date, but, well, between my teaching job and my responsibilities as a single parent, it was hard to not only find the time, but to find someone to babysit for the evening without calling upon the goodwill of the grandparents yet again. Most of all, though, it was impossible to find someone to fill the yawning void that Cassandra had left in her wake.
Nothing there. Oh, let's check up here. There's a barrier there. Here's a radio. No battery. Here this. You have to find the batteries and put them in the radio like this.
I never asked you to be alone, my sweet. You'd have had my blessing if you had found someone else. All I would have asked was that she be a good mother to Emily.
And now the barrier is lowered. Interlude 1. Rendezvous.
Ah, yes, I remember this evening. My wife left a note for me with a friend of ours who worked at a place called Danny's Cafe. Oh, she always did like her little games. We had a lot of good times in this district, made a lot of good friends, enjoyed a lot of good meals, but there are, unfortunately, other memories which I associate with this place.
I like the design in this one. Neat looking skyscrapers and sky, and the neat lights here. This looks like a pretty neat setting. There's a note.
The note says, "Dearest, come meet me at O'Doyle's at 6:30. Oh, but one small favor along the way. Emily says she left Axel in the playground. You know how upset she gets without her bunny rabbit. Oh dear. Still, I guess I'm not one to judge. I've been known to get a bit negligent from time to time myself."
Now, where am I going? Oh, here's a playground.
That's one errand run. Next stop, O'Doyle's. The aromas of this district, the delectable scent of recently roasted coffee beans, freshly cut cake, and all manner of chocolatey delights. Truly a gastronome's paradise. The last time Cassandra asked me to meet her here at night, it was to tell me she was pregnant. I wonder what the big news will be this time.
Chapter 2, Little Mermaid. setting.
Somehow, teaching children of early high school age had done little to prepare me for the task of raising a child not many years younger. She still had an innocence at her age, while the scamps that I taught, I'm being a bit harsh of course, but well, the students that I taught were in the process of growing up very quickly, a little too quickly, some of them. I sincerely hoped that my Emily wouldn't be quite so precocious by the time she was that age.
Oh, there's the other painting, the drawing that I forgot. Yeah. That's another drawing. Because last time I played this, I didn't get all the paintings.
I enjoyed taking my daughter on short trips, well away from the city. I didn't want her knowing nothing but schools and streets, which my own life almost seemed to consist of. I figured she needed to breathe a bit of nature every once in a while, enjoy a bit of fresh air. It's one thing to civilize a child, but another to deny them their childhood altogether. We both seemed to like the beach, especially.
Here's one. I love you, Daddy. Another child's drawing. Let's see if there's anything around here first. Oh, here it is.
Emily loved the water. In another life, I believe she could have easily been a fish. Sometimes I even called her my little mermaid. She loved the sand too, and liked to build things with it. One day, I helped her make a fairy tale castle and cast her, only in her mind of course, as a kind of mermaid Rapunzel, trapped in a tower far beneath the water, her long hair flowing with the whims of the waves.
Another drawing.
"Would you be my prince and come save me, Daddy?" she asked. "No, sweetie, that'll be another man. We just don't know who yet. But one day your prince will come." I further hoped to myself, and only to myself, that the man in question wouldn't merely break her heart. I wished nothing more for her than to find the happily ever after that eludes so many others. For a brief time, when Emily was 7 years old, I managed to get involved with another woman for all of 6 months, another teacher at the same high school. When that ended, we did our best to go back to just being friends and colleagues, but it wasn't long before the woman in question happened to find herself a job at another school. I never knew whether I was the primary cause for her leaving, but knew that it was probably for the best. She only met Emily once. I don't think Emily liked her very much. Yeah, it was probably for the best.
There's another shield I have to get down. Let's see what's over here first. Yeah, you have to go back here because there's the batteries are right here. So make sure you go back here in this area.
I know you always acted with Emily's best interests at heart, and mine when I was alive. You were a good husband, and a good father. Nobody's perfect.
Interlude 2, Careless Wishes.
Memories. My wife and I used to come to this place to mess about, before we were actually husband and wife, of course. Her parents were a bit on the religious side, and, well, I'm not sure my parents would have appreciated us getting up to mischief in their house either. It wasn't glamorous, but at least we knew we could be alone here.
Oh, here it is. A crowbar.
There was that one time, of course, when we were interrupted by the squatter. The poor old guy seemed a bit embarrassed by his discovery, truth be told. We quickly finished up our business and respectfully departed. During future visits, we made a point of keeping to the other end of the building, just in case. Eventually, the place was condemned and torn down. It was no great skin off of our knees, given that we'd already moved on, but I always wondered about that homeless guy. I certainly hope he wasn't inside the building on the demolition day. He'd be long gone by now, either way. Ah, that's right. I'd completely forgotten that this is where we found Axel, named him, and jokingly decided to keep him should we ever have a child together. Careful what you wish for.
Chapter 3. The Demon Drink.
There was one resounding consequence to the breakup with the other teacher. Shortly afterwards, my drinking started to spiral out of control. Perhaps it shouldn't have come as a surprise. My father had been something of a drinker when I was young, though he did manage to reduce his intake by the time I left home, thanks to the numerous threats of divorce from my mother. The irony wasn't lost on me. My father partially conquered his alcoholism to keep a woman in his life, while losing 2 women in my own only drew me closer to the demon drink. I never hit Emily. Not before the drink and not after. It just didn't affect me that way. Alcohol didn't make me violent, it made me negligent. Which isn't to say that I wasn't known for my occasional bouts of verbal aggression. That much I can't deny, and I probably raised my voice to Emily more often than I should have. I certainly recall at least one occasion when I reduced her to tears, and there were probably other occasions that I simply can't remember. But I never hurt her physically. That much I'm certain of. That just wasn't who I was or who I am today. I might be a weak man, but I'm not a total coward. At first, my work wasn't affected, at least not noticeably. As the months progressed, however, I found myself substituting the water in my plastic bottle for vodka. Only sometimes on especially hard days, and only a partially full bottle. No one ever knew, of course, that though my work performance was questioned on 1 or 2 occasions. That said, my job was never in threat, at least for the first year or so. Then came the day of a certain small incident, and well, I wasn't violent towards the boy. Again, that just wasn't my style, sober or otherwise. But I definitely raised my voice at him and demanded that he leave my classroom and never darken my doorstep again. I might have even sworn at him. The official report certainly claims that I did.
I think this pays homage to the first bottle game. Remember that? When you like wiggle the axe outside the house.
What can I say? His disruptive behavior was difficult enough to tolerate, even when I was in a fitter state to endure such nonsense. But things were starting to deteriorate in my life generally, to the point where Emily's grandparents were starting to intervene a little, and I guess I took my frustrations out on him rather than her. There's no denying that boy deserved my wrath more than my daughter. I was put on suspension since I hardly had a history of these things. I'd been a good worker up to that point. I honestly had. Go sort yourself out, they said. I had every intention of doing just that.
Oh, there's the batteries. Okay. Oh, and there's the shield wall, so...
Darling, you can't keep blaming yourself for what happened. Not to me, and me.
Alligator.
The path to recovery is never an easy one, and I wasn't convinced that cold turkey was my answer. It just sounded too convenient to me and seemed a surefire way to fall straight back off the wagon. I suspected that slowly weaning myself off the drink would reap more permanent rewards, and immediately set about reducing my intake. A fortnight later, it was still a daily habit, but at least that habit had shifted mostly to nights. After talking Emily's grandparents around, convincing them this was the first step on my road to recovery, I soon organized a trip to one of our favorite beaches, a retreat we'd been to a couple of times before. It would be a week's trip during her school holidays away from the stresses of both of our lives. Emily was happy, especially after I explained to her that this was Daddy's chance to get better. At the very least, that was the plan.
Interlude 3, Brave Little Soul.
I always tried to make holidays a thing in our little family unit for the short time such a unit existed. I was more of a summery person, while my wife adored the snow. Perhaps it was her Russian roots. Our daughter was happy almost anywhere and everywhere, but there's no denying she felt the cold more than any of us. Daddy, Axel's shivering. He needs more fire. We all knew, of course, that she was referring to herself and not the rabbit, but if that was her way of appearing courageous, we were willing to go along with it. I rug it up and left the two ladies in the log cabin in search of wood to feed the fireplace.
All these sticks.
6 years. That's all the time we had together, all three of us. All the time that Emily had to get to know her mother. Daddy, when will Mommy be coming home? She asked the day after Cassandra died. I opened my mouth to answer, but all that came from my throat was an impotent choking sound. Tears were quick to follow. Emily, brave little soul that she was, did her best to console me. In the end, it was the children's book that helped Emily to fully comprehend what had happened to her mother. So the mummy deer got sick, and there was nothing the other deers could do to help her? That's right, sweetie. We all have to pass on sooner or later. Your mother's time just came sooner than we expected. It was in that moment that I understood why families bought pets with short life expectancies, like goldfish and guinea pigs. Emily had little concept of death up until that point. That should be enough wood for now. Time to head back to the cabin. I'm sure those two must be freezing by now. Could happily bear to get a bit warmer myself. Beaches are certainly more my speed, I'd say.
Chapter 4. Penance. Now we're in a cave.
Things went swimmingly for the first few days of the beachside trip. No bad puns intended. And Emily was enjoying every minute of it. Sometimes I worried that I may have created a slight loner of a kid, given how happy she was to play by herself, how proficient she was at finding her own entertainment. This isn't to say there weren't other children at the retreat with whom she was willing to briefly associate, but she didn't seem overly fussed if their parents had to take them home that same evening. She was happy either way. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised given that she was an only child and that she was no stranger to the idea that people might temporarily inhabit her life, only to depart shortly afterward. Perhaps I'd raised her a little too well in that department. In the meantime, I was having my own version of A good time. Freed from the shackles of a more polite existence, I found little reason not to drink the days away, and the nights even more so. I know that wasn't the plan, but anyway, I met some new friends, and even made the acquaintance of a very lovely, very single woman 5 years my junior. A woman so charming that even Emily seemed to take a slight shine to her. Things were definitely looking up. Then came the day of the tragedy. In the early evening, 2 days after meeting the woman, I was enjoying her company and that of some fellow adults while my daughter enjoyed the water mere meters away from us. I say mere meters, but she must have started to drift further out without my noticing. A fact hardly surprising, given that my advanced state of inebriation limited my focus to one subject at a time, at best. And given that the woman was the greater novelty of the moment, she was the one stealing the bulk of my attention at the time. This attention was quickly divided, however, when I heard my daughter scream. It's funny, the sudden clarity one can experience, the moment one realizes that something they love is in danger. I leapt to my feet and caused all manner of calamity as I scrambled to free myself from the tiny maze of tables and chairs that surrounded us. Somewhere, behind me, another man from our entourage was rushing to join me, but I was quicker to reach the waterside and wade frantically in, shouting my daughter's name. I couldn't actually see her at first, then. Glimpses, only of her hands and arms as they flailed above the water. All thoughts of my own current capacity to swim were tossed aside, and I launched myself into the ocean fingers first. Not even sure if I was swimming in the correct direction the whole time, but my body knew it had to press on, irrespective. Something inside my burning brain told me that as long as I pushed myself forward, I could aid my daughter. By the mere fact of willing myself to be her savior, that was what I would somehow become. Her body was never found. Mine somehow made its way back to the beach before collapsing, face down, so I'm told, into unconsciousness. I cannot say with any confidence whether I could have saved Emily, sober or not, but I blame the drink nonetheless, and most of all, I blame myself. Who am I kidding? A bottle can't be blamed for its actions any more than a rifle can be. It was my weakness, my fault alone, that I became a man so wretched that he failed to notice his own daughter struggling with the evening tide. My last-minute delusions of heroism count for nothing. I simply wasn't there for my only child when she needed me most. Can I tell myself I was a good father? No. But I did try. More than my own father ever did. That said, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, and I can't deny the blood that runs through my veins. But I've punished myself plenty, and I've improved my ways. I don't drink anymore, and every year I make this pilgrimage to prove this fact to my daughter.
Okay.
I have another dozen unopened bottles where that came from, so my penance is far from over. I'm slowly learning to forgive myself, and I can only ask you, Emily, to forgive me also. You were the most vivid reminder I had left of your mother. Now that you're both gone, well, let's just say that I keep to myself these days. It's better that way. All that I can do is be the best teacher that I can and give other people's children the best opportunities that life has to offer them. I'm so sorry I couldn't do that for you. Farewell, my little mermaid. Sleep peacefully. Daddy loves you always.
Thank you for playing. Okay, it looks like that's the end of it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this gameplay review video. of Bottle Pilgrim Redux, the second installment in the Bottle series, developed and created by Tonguc Bodur. It was written by Michael Bowser, I think his name is. But anyway, it's the 8th game overall. This is one of his early games. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's a pretty good game. As you know, I'm a very big fan of Tonguc Bodur, and his games are kind of an inspiration to me. He's one of many inspirational game developers. I have several that I really like, but anyway, the time is drawing near for the move to Tacoma, and I won't be making too much many more videos, maybe a couple more, and that'll be it. Just 7 days left to go. Everything is pretty much packed up except my computer and stuff here on my desk. But I'm going to be packing it away in about 5 days. So before I do, I will make one more video with my camcorder. And then I will be taking a break for maybe 2 to 3 weeks until the first week of March at least. So, hope to see you there at the new place. Got a lot of more content. I really want to get started on as soon as I get there. So, look forward to that and stay tuned. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and tell others about my channel, and feel free to peruse my content. I really like doing it. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.